G'day, Ben from Melbourne here. Today we're going to do the 25 greatest UK bands of all time, according to me. I know you've all been waiting with bated breath thinking, when's he going to do it? He's done the US one, he's done a heap more Australian crap in between. When's he going to tell us how it is and what to do? And we need guidance of what the greatest UK bands of all time are. Now, as usual, disclaimer of this is my list, this is stuff I like, so it's going to reflect my generation. I don't just go for classic stuff just because it is written in stone somewhere. And also, I try not to double up too much with what other people have shown in their videos. So, if you're waiting for the Beatles to be number one, you're going to be sorely disappointed. If you like shoegaze, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Let's get into it. I think there's 25. I don't count them. That's your job. First of all, with the great This Heat. Awesome band from late 70s, 77, 78. This is their debut album. Krautrock influenced dub, punkish, post-punk, new wave kind of thing going on there. Really original band. I'm not going to show insides and backs and all that sort of shit because it's going to take forever. Next up, we've got from the 90s, Belle and Sebastian, and probably their best record, The Boy with the Arab Strap. Didn't know what that was, looked it up. It was like, wow, not what I thought it would be. And also listening to this music, it's like, these dudes, a little bit kinky. But great indie pop. Some could argue it's the start of like when things got a bit twee and introspective and cardigan wearing, but listen to the lyrics and there's a bit more going on than that. Next, the mighty Stereolab. Fantastic band, been around for a long time now. Released probably maybe 8-9 records, and they have that like driving kind of krautrockish beat, but a bit more poppy. Sing a lot of songs in French. It's got the vibe. Also, if you ever heard of, what's that band called? The American one from the late 60s. And it's not Presidents of the United States of America, because that's that shit band who sang about peaches. It's United States of America? I think that's what they call. I swear to God, these guys were listening to them. Next, speaking of guys listening to bands, I reckon the Birthday Party had a couple of pop group albums, because this is the punk funk to the extreme. Their album Why, this is just a killer record. If you like in your face, like spidery guitars, big heavy bass, funky rhythms, good stuff. Now for PC31, who seems to have gone missing for a little while, one of his favourites and one of mine, the Comsat Angels. This is their debut record, Waiting for a Miracle. Just brilliant stuff, like indie rock before indie rock in a way, kind of all those great things we love, post-punk, new wave sounds going on in here. This is just such a good band, and they transitioned well into the 90s as well. I've got a CD of theirs thanks to the great PC31, and they kind of developed a bit of a shoegazy sound, which is cool. I really do. I've got the first and second album and that one from the 90s. Got to delve deeper into this, but worthy of being up there as some of the greats. Now, Young Marble Giants, Colossal Youth. Just the one record. Love this stuff. Minimal stuff. It's just like bass, little bit of minimal guitar and drum machine and female vocal. I'm sure the XX have these records. Probably the best known song, I'm guessing, because Hull covered it, was Credit in the Straight World. So, Young Marble-Eyed. Talk properly. Young Marble Giants. Great stuff. Here we go. Shoegaze, or we're going to call this Dream Pop. The masterful Slowdive with I think their best record, Souvlaki. Amazing record, amazing band. Got back together a few years back and have released another 2 really good records. If you love that sort of dreamscapey, the more poppy end of shoegaze, you'll love these dudes. Now, a clattering mess of noise, but somehow it sounds incredibly musical, and that's the mighty Swell Maps with their classic album, A Trip to Marineville. This, I think, is early 80s, late 70s, and from the minds of Nicky Sudden, and I knew I would do that. I'd blank straight away. Now I've got to look inside, and epic soundtracks, thank you, who would go on and have solo careers and collaborate with numerous people over the years. Now the mighty two-tone label. I had to put some two-tone in. A lot of people showed the specials and the beat, so I decided to go with Selector and their classic record, Too Much Pressure. I love the stylized look of all the two-tone records, that ska revival from the late 70s. I like how it was really political as well. Mixed race bands, mixed gender bands, all young, all dressed sharp, all making amazing music. Now, people pick Spaceman 3, so I'm going to pick Spiritualized, Jay Spaceman's next project, and this was the debut Laser Guided Melodies. And of course, if you're into your Spiritualized, you realize that this is the reissue, because the original, which I don't know, I just thought for something different I'd dig this one out instead. The original is a black cover with the white images on it. Still like carrying on, I guess, with that Spaceman 3 spirit, but also incorporating, if you can believe it or not, to that swirly, kind of psychedelic, but not in a 60s psychedelic way, and sort of shoegazy sound. There's also like gospel and soul in this, and it freaking works, and it would get more so as it went on, and it is incredible. If you ever get a chance to see Spiritualized live, do it. They're fantastic. Now, our 80s banger, and probably their best record, Matt Johnson's project, The, and the record's Soul Mining. This is just an absolute banger of electronic pop music. Had a few hits over here. Later on, would collaborate with Johnny Marr and people like that. This is the one which has This Is the Day, which I think was the single off it, but the song Giant is incredible. Classic record. Next, would you say they're dream pop, or no? Probably not. How would you describe The House of Love? This is just a great record. Kind of, I suppose, like they're on Creation Records. So if you know Creation Records, it's got that sort of sound. If you're familiar with that, it's indie rock for sure. Much more poppy. They're quite mellow, but just a brilliant record. Probably, I'm guessing Beatles and the Stones would be their most famous song for most people. But yeah, that's on the next album. But this is the one I like the most. I think it's just self-titled, The House of Love. Yeah, brilliant record. Next up, here's some 60s music for all you old cats out there who are like, what the fuck is all this shit? The Creation, We Are Painter Men. Fantastic. What is now getting called freak beat style. It's kind of like mod with a bit of psych, I suppose. The Creation... someone's going to correct me. Should I say this or not? Fuck it, I'll say it. They were in direct competition with The Who for a while with their awesome modish freak beat sounds. Killer band. You know, they do covers of like Cool Jerk like most bands did at that time, but Biff Bang Pow and Paint a Man, the song, killer original. Jangle-tastic indie pop to the perfect extreme. It sounded like I just picked a whole heap of random words and put them together, which I pretty much did. That, of course, is Teenage Fan Club's brilliant record, Bandwagon-esque. And if it's not for the Rickenbacker 12-string guitar jangleness, it's the harmonies. Amazing. Brought back like that cool harmony stuff. Like everyone always thinks of the Byrds when they talk about Teenage Fan Club, but they were doing their own thing. And a great live band too. Sadly, they're still going, but sadly, like, you know, there's a few of the original members no longer with them anymore, so who I think are, you know, important to the sound. Now, I'm sure someone has shown this, but maybe not this album. My Bloody Valentine with There Isn't Anything, their debut record. Yeah, they only had a few EPs for this. I actually like this more than Loveless. I know that's controversial, but this is just brilliant. And they just influence so many bands with their sound, and can't seem to make another record past MBV. I don't know what it is with Kevin Shields. It's just a very slow process for that man. Gets trapped in the studio. Now, a killer record. Could have chosen several, but I'm going to go with this because it was the first one I heard, and that's The Wedding Present with their great record, Bizarro. Very much indie rock, more emphasis on the rock. These guys have a big guitar sound. Brass Neck is a fantastic song off this, and also it's Bewitched, I think, is the epic one. Just rams it into your head. Awesome band, still kicking. Check out George Best as well, album before this. There's a great slew of singles they released, which have been put onto several different compilations as well. Next, Primal Scream, Sonic Flower Groove. And I went for this one because I love this jangly pop era. It's just so indie and so great. Like, they are just chameleons, Primal Scream, and have taken on many different guises over the years of, you know, electronic dub through to wanting to be the Stones and shit like that. Just really great, interesting band. Believe new album come out this year as well. But yeah, this album in particular, I have a real soft spot for. Now, from Manchester, the Happy Mondays, and this one is Bummed. Could have picked any of the first three of their records. Well, I'm picking bands, I know it doesn't matter what record I hold up. But just champs of that kind of, is it called modern Northern Soul or something like that, combination of, you know, just dance grooves and beats. They were hot, really good rhythm section, really danceable, mixed really well with the whole club scene that was also happening. Just there's kind of a soulful sound, but indie as well. Really great stuff, and took more drugs than you and your mother ever did. Next, Heavyweights. I don't think they like to be called shoegaze, but I'm going, because they're a bit more rockin', but I'm going to say they are. Swervedriver with Ray's classic record from the early 90s. Yeah, if you listen to Son of Mustang Ford, it's like, that's quite a fast song. It's not really but it's the layers of guitars. So then if you flip it to side 2 with Rave Down, then it's like we're in total shoegaze territory there. These guys have a lot of pedals. And some would say the kings of shoegaze, Ride, with their debut album Nowhere. What a band. If they only released this and Leaves Me Blind, that's all I'd need to do. Of course, things falling out everywhere. Ride are still functioning as a band. They've got back together and released a really good record. Interplay, I think it's called, come out last year or year before. Saw them on tour, and really enjoyed it. And this, this is just stone cold classic. Not just of shoegaze, of anything that come out in the 90s. Right, let's go back to 1979 with the mighty Ruts and their album The Crack. Fantastic punk band. Managed to also bring a bit of that sort of reggae dub sound without sounding clunky like a lot of the punk bands did. It just really worked with them well. Just starts off with Babylon's Burning and just smashes you over the head. Paul Fox's guitar playing, just incredible. Really, really great band. Unfortunately, weren't around for long because, what's his name? The lead singer. Malcolm Owen died, I believe, of a heroin overdose too young. But this is a classic punk rock record with a nice little tasty bit of reggae roots thrown in. The revival of the mods, can't not have the Jams. Masterpiece, I'd say, all mod cons. Don't know why it's about the bands, this, but I keep on talking about the record. Yeah, what can you say about the Jam? Brilliant band, so many great songs. Was successful, had a lot of hits over in the UK. Evolved, were interesting. Really, really great. A lot of people, want them to get back together and all that shit. And Paul Weller refuses to, which I kind of like. It's I never got to see him, and I probably would see him if they reformed. But I can see his point of it was perfect how it was. Got the records. Let's go back to the 60s again with the Pretty Things, and not the Pretty Things of the concept album era. I'm talking the more garage rock Pretty Things. And, these guys were as hard as nails. This is some really good garagey rock stuff on here. As you can tell, because Norton reissued this, and they are purveyors of all things that are fine in the garage rock world from the 60s. These guys were as big as the Rolling Stones early on, believe it or not. I know that anytime you mention a big band, you're going to get some fuckwit in the comments. Be like, well, actually, in 1964, the Rolling Stones were one chart position above the Pretty Things, even though it was only for 1.5 weeks and 3 days. It's a fact, baby. Anyway, who gives a fuck? Pretty Things are awesome. Oh, we've got down to 2, and I think we'll be able to do this sub 20 minutes. Now, I think this is one of my favourite bands as far as being inventive, sounding like nothing else, but also sounding like everything else, and that's Magazine. Amazing band. Howard Devoto, of course, left the Buzzcocks early on and formed Magazine, and him and a few other bands pretty much invented new wave. And thank God, because of there's some good records come out of it, and this to me is one of the absolute best. All 3 of their records I think are getting, the first 3 are getting reissued late this year, early next year. Well, we're nearly running out of year, and this might not even come out this year because I've got so many video ideas coming up. Actually, I just do them on the fly when I can think of something these days. Also, of course, this had Barry Adamson, who go on to play with the Bad Seeds and have quite a successful solo career, and John McGough, is that how you pronounce his name? I'm not 100% sure. But he features heavily within that scene on guitar, really original style. And what's my number one UK band of all time? Well, who else can it be? The friggin' Fall, baby. As John Peel said, the Fall, always different, always the same. Amazing band. You're either into them or you hate them, and I absolutely love them. I have, I think, nearly all of their studio records, which must be close to 40. Mark E. Smith, of course, is the Fall. In the early days, they were a bit more of a band. Somehow, no matter who's in that band, they always sound like the Fall. I think Mark E. Smith said something along the lines once of, if it's me and your grandma on bongos, it's the Fall. And I believe that. I got to see him a couple of times, and damn, they were good. Poor old Mark E. Smith's no longer with us anymore, sadly. The only good thing about that is I can probably catch up on getting a few more of their records without them releasing more shit. Yeah, put it this way. The Fall had their own separate firebox for John Peel, as well as, his other firebox of, what was it, about 37-inch singles. So if that doesn't tell you how good the frickin' Fall are, I don't know what will change your mind. Buy the Fall Peel sessions. It's only on CD, but it covers them from like the start till, I think, late 90s, maybe into the 2000s. It's mind-blowing. Their albums are great, but to me, they're a real live band. Anyway, I thought I'd go sub 20, but I haven't. So let's leave it there. Fall the number one, not the Beatles. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. See you in the next one.